I've been thinking about something lately, something that I think a lot of us carry around without even realizing it, and I want to talk to you about it today. Not as someone who has all the answers, not as someone who has never been lost, but as someone who has sat in the dark, in the silence, and waited. Waited for something, waited for someone, waited for life to finally begin. And I want to ask you something right here, right now, before we go any further. How long have you been waiting? How long have you been sitting at the edge of your own life, looking out the window, watching the world move, watching other people move, watching time move, and telling yourself that yours will come, that things will change whenever they change, that you'll be happy when they come back, that you'll finally feel whole when they say the words you've been aching to hear? I know that feeling. I've lived inside it, and I'm here to tell you, gently, honestly, with everything I've got, that waiting for another person to complete you is one of the most painful, most invisible prisons a human being can build for themselves. Because the bars aren't made of steel, they're made of hope. And hope, when it's pointed at the wrong thing, can keep you locked up longer than any wall ever could. So let's talk about it. Let's really talk about it. I want you to think about the last time you felt genuinely, deeply okay. Not happy necessarily, just okay. Grounded. Like the ground beneath your feet was solid, like you weren't waiting for a text, a call, a sign, a return, like you were just there, present, breathing, yourself. When was that? For a lot of us, that moment feels like a long time ago, and somewhere along the way, maybe gradually, maybe in one single devastating moment, we handed the key to that feeling over to someone else. We said, consciously or not, you hold this, my peace, my joy, my sense of worth, you hold it, and I'll just wait here until you decide to give it back. That's what waiting for someone is. At its core, it's outsourcing yourself. It's taking everything that is uniquely, beautifully, irreplaceably you and placing it in someone else's hands and hoping, praying that they'll be careful with it. And sometimes they aren't. Sometimes they don't even know they're holding it. I've lost people in my life, people I loved deeply, completely, in ways that didn't have words. And when you lose someone like that, whether it's to death, to distance, to a slow and quiet drifting, you realize something terrifying. You realize that a version of Ev you went with them. That somewhere in the loving, in the trusting, in the waiting, you had tied pieces of your identity to that person like ribbons to a kite. And when they flew away, the ribbons snapped, and suddenly you're standing there looking at your hands thinking, where did I go? That's the question, isn't it? That's the question nobody warns you about when you fall in love, when you build a friendship, when you let someone become the axis your world rotates around. Where did you go? And more importantly, how do you find yourself again? I'll tell you how. I'll tell you exactly what happened when I stopped waiting. It didn't happen dramatically. There was no lightning bolt. No single morning where I woke up and the sun was golden and the birds were singing and everything made sense. It was quieter than that. It was smaller. It was one moment, one decision, one almost imperceptible shift. And that shift changed everything. I was sitting alone. And instead of reaching for my phone to check if they'd responded, instead of running through every conversation we'd had looking for clues, instead of imagining what they were doing, who they were with, whether they were thinking about me, I just stopped. I put the phone down. I looked at the room around me, and I asked myself a question that I hadn't asked in a long time. Not what do I want them to do, not what do I want us to be. What do I want right now, in this moment, for myself? Just for myself. And you know what? I didn't know. That was the most humbling, terrifying, clarifying moment I've ever had. I didn't know what I wanted, because I had spent so long organizing my desires around another person that my own wishes had gone quiet, like a voice that stopped speaking because it's never heard. So I started listening. It's a practice, let me tell you. It's not a switch you flip. It's a muscle you've let atrophy, and now you have to work it back slowly, painfully, honestly. You ask yourself what you want, and you sit with the silence and you wait. Not for someone else this time, but for yourself. You wait for yourself to speak up. And the first answers are small, simple, almost embarrassingly simple. I'm hungry, I'm tired. I want to sit outside, I want to read something, I want to hear music, I want to walk. And you follow those small voices, you honor them. You say, okay, we're doing this, we're going outside, we're making food, we're listening to that album. And in the honoring of those small things, something begins to rebuild. Not loudly, not all at once, but steadily. Brick by quiet brick, you start to remember who you were before someone else became the weather of your days. And here's the thing. Here's what I really want you to hear. The version of you that existed before you started waiting. That person didn't disappear. They went quiet. They went underground. but they are still there, still intact, still waiting, not for someone else, but for you. For you to come back to them. For you to say, I'm sorry I left, I'm sorry I handed you over, I'm back now. Let's try again. There's a reunion waiting for you, and it's with yourself. And I promise you with everything I have, that reunion is more powerful, more healing, more life-changing than any reconciliation with the person you've been waiting for. Now, I'm not saying people don't matter. I'm not standing here telling you that love is a mistake or that connection is an illusion. Connection is everything. Love is real and it's worth it, and it's one of the most extraordinary things this strange little life has to offer. But there is a difference, a profound, crucial, life-altering difference between loving someone and needing someone, between being with someone and being lost in someone. Love, at its best, is two whole people choosing each other. Not two half people clinging to each other trying to make a whole. When you enter a relationship, any relationship, romantic, friendship, family, as a complete person, you bring something real to it. You bring yourself, and that's a gift. That's a genuine gift that another person can receive and hold and cherish. But when you enter as a fragment, when you arrive already diminished, already waiting, already silently begging to be completed, that's not love, that's hunger. And you cannot feed hunger with hunger. You cannot ask another broken person to be the bandage for your wound. It doesn't work that way. It never works that way. And deep down, you already know that. So what does it look like to stop waiting? It looks like waking up in the morning and not immediately searching for evidence that they thought of you overnight. It looks like making your coffee, feeling the warmth of the cup, noticing the light coming through the window, and deciding that those small things are enough, not forever. Not as a replacement, but enough for right now, enough for this morning. It looks like having a hard emotion, loneliness, longing, that ache that lives right in the center of your chest, and instead of picking up your phone, you pick up a pen, or you go for a run, or you call a friend who actually answers, not to escape the feeling, but to move through it. To be in it without being destroyed by it. It looks like making plans for yourself, not plans that hinge on whether or not they show up, plans that are yours regardless. A trip you've been putting off, a class you've been curious about, a conversation with someone who sees you, who asks about you, who listens when you speak, filling your life with things that have nothing to do with the waiting. And slowly, the waiting loosens its grip. Because here's what waiting does, what it actually does beneath the surface: it keeps you suspended. It keeps you in a state of incompletion, like a sentence without a period. As long as you're waiting, you're telling yourself the story isn't finished yet. You're holding your breath, refusing to exhale, because exhaling would mean accepting that this, right now, is your actual life, not the life you'll have when they come back, not the life you'll have when things change.
This right now, this is it.
And that can feel devastating, but it's also, if you let it be, liberating. Because the moment you accept that this is your actual life, you can actually start living it. You can stop treating the present like a waiting room and start treating it like a destination. And something shifts. Something fundamental and irreversible shift. You stop being a passive character in your own story, always waiting for someone else to arrive and move the plot forward. You pick up the pen. You write the next line yourself. That's what I did. That's what happened to me. I stopped waiting and I started showing up for myself, for my work, for the people who were already in my life, already present, already real. I started noticing the people who didn't need to be chased, the ones who called back, the ones who showed up, the ones who, when you said you were hurting, they sat down with you instead of walking away. Those people. I started investing in those people. I started building with those people, and my world opened up, not in a dramatic, cinematic way, in a quiet, real, sustainable way. It opened up because I was finally in it instead of hovering at its edges, waiting for permission to arrive. I also want to say this because I think it needs to be said: stopping the wait doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you close your heart. It doesn't mean you become cold or indifferent or pretend the loss doesn't live in you somewhere. It will always live in you somewhere. The people we love, the people we've waited for, the people who shaped us, they're in us. They're woven into who we are. You don't erase that. You don't want to erase that. But you carry it differently. Instead of a weight that holds you down, it becomes something you carry in your pocket, something that's there, that's real, that occasionally makes itself known, but that no longer defines the entire landscape of your days. You integrate it, you make room for it without giving it the throne, and when someone asks you about that person, you can talk about them without falling apart. You can say, that mattered to me, that changed me, and I am still here, and I am still going,
That's not indifference, that's grace.
I believe, truly, deeply believe, that every human being has within them an extraordinary capacity for self-renewal, for regeneration, not in spite of pain, but through it. Not by avoiding loss, but by walking directly through it and coming out the other side changed. Yes, marked, yes, but also somehow more yourself than you were before. Pain has a way of burning off everything that isn't essential. When you go through something that breaks you open, when you go through the kind of grief that comes from loving someone and losing them and realizing you had built your whole landscape around their presence. When that happens, what survives is the truest part of you, the core, the thing that was there before them and will be there after, and that thing is worth knowing, that thing is worth meeting. So, if you're in it right now, if you're deep in the waiting, if you're checking your phone for the 100th time today, if you're lying awake, running through every conversation trying to find the moment things went wrong, if you're bargaining with the universe, if you're writing messages you never send, if you're telling yourself, just a little longer, just wait a little longer, I see you, I really see you. And I want to say something to you that I wish someone had said to me in the middle of my darkest waiting. You are not half a person. You are not incomplete. You are not a supporting character in someone else's story waiting to be promoted to the lead of your own. You are already the lead. You have always been the lead, and the story is happening right now, not when they come back, not when things make sense. Now, this moment, this breath, this life, don't miss it. Don't sit in the waiting room of your own existence when the door to the actual room has been open this whole time. All you have to do is walk through it. All you have to do is choose deliberately, bravely, gently to stop waiting and start living. It won't be perfect. The longing will still visit. There will be nights when the missing is loud and the silence is heavy and every love song feels like it was written specifically to destroy you. That's okay. That's part of it. But even in those moments, you can come back to your cellmates, you can put your hand on your own chest and say, I've got you. We're gonna be okay. Just because you are gonna be okay. Better than okay. You're gonna be awake, fully, genuinely, beautifully awake in your own life, maybe for the first time in a long time. And that is something worth getting up for. That is something worth fighting for. Not fighting the person who left, not fighting the circumstances that brought you here, but fighting for yourself. Choosing yourself, showing up for yourself with the same loyalty, the same patience, the same unconditional willingness to stay that you've been pouring into the waiting. Turn it inward. Pour it into yourself. The day you stop waiting for someone to rescue you is the day you discover you were never in a cage to begin with. The door was open. You were always the door. Walk through. I believe in you. I believe in the version of you that exists on the other side of this waiting, the one who has reclaimed their mornings, their laughter, their sense of possibility, their wild and stubborn and gorgeous aliveness. That person is real, that person is you, and they've been waiting not for someone else, they've been waiting for a you, so go to them. Stop waiting and go. Your life is calling you home to you, and hey, before you go anywhere, if something in these words landed for you today, if something cracked open a little bit of light in a place that's been dark for a while, do me a favor, hit that like button. Let me know this reached you. And if you think someone in your life needs to hear this right now, a friend, a brother, a sister, someone who's been sitting in that waiting room too long, share this with them. Send it to them without a message. Just send it, they'll know why. And subscribe, because we're just getting started. There's more to talk about, more to explore, more of this honest, quiet, necessary conversation about what it means to be a human being trying to live with intention and courage and love. I want you here for all of it. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember, the most important person you will ever stop waiting for is you.